You live inside a thing so massive, it takes your planet 230 million years to orbit it once, a single lap. While your heart keeps time in seconds, your galaxy moves in epochs, slow spirals through the dark, dragging suns like pearls on an invisible string. You were born in the outskirts of something unimaginably old. Something with a name soft enough to sound like poetry. The Milky Way. Astronomers say it spans more than 100,000 light years across. But even that number is misleading, because it isn't a flat disk. Not exactly. It warps and ripples and curves like an ancient vinyl record played for too long. There are stars flung out like afterthoughts, rogue clusters in its halo, ghostly streams of dwarf galaxies being digested in real time. And all of it is rotating, slowly, around a central hunger no telescope can truly capture. A supermassive black hole, millions of times more massive than your sun, utterly invisible, and yet absolutely in control. You think you're lying in bed on a quiet planet tonight, but really, you're curled inside a gravitational masterpiece. A spiral that's been turning since long before mammals existed, since before Earth was solid, since before the word "before" made any sense. Your body is made of it, literally. 97% of the atoms in your flesh were forged inside Milky Way stars. Calcium from dead supernovae, iron from collapsing giants, oxygen born in stellar cores. You are the echo of its fire, the dust of its thoughts. But here's the strangest part. No one knows where the galaxy ends. Its stars fade into clouds, its clouds into halos, its halos into intergalactic whispers. Somewhere out there, this spiral dissolves into silence, and somewhere even farther, another galaxy waits to collide with it. So tonight, as you listen, I want you to imagine yourself not as small, but as precise, a thinking molecule on the edge of a cosmic thought. Leave a comment telling me what time it is where you are and how long it's been since you looked up at the night sky. Then close your eyes, because we are about to count down 100 secrets from the galaxy you already live inside. And it all begins with a ripple. It begins with light, not the kind you see, but the kind you don't. Microwaves, infrared, gamma flickers, a whole soup of invisible wavelengths washing through your room right now, through your bones, your blanket, the sky itself. All of it, signals from home, because the Milky Way doesn't just shine in visible light. It whispers in radio, it hums in hydrogen, it pulses in X-ray. The galaxy you're lying inside isn't just a river of stars, it's a symphony of frequencies. And you, little sleeper, are surrounded by music far older than your species. The first time humans mapped the plane of the Milky Way in radio frequencies, they didn't expect what they found. Not a gentle swirl, but a blazing line, a concentrated bulge toward the center. Dark lanes where interstellar dust devours light. And that's where the idea of the galaxy truly began to shift. Because before we had the technology, we thought we were at the center of things. A classic mistake. Fact 1. The Milky Way is a barred spiral galaxy, meaning it has a central bar-shaped structure made of stars, and you're not at the center, not even close. You're tucked away in a minor arm, a quiet little spur off the Sagittarius arm, called the Orion Cygnus arm, a kind of galactic cul-de-sac, cozy, dim, perfect for life. Fact 2. The Sun orbits the galactic center at roughly 828,000 kilometers per hour. That's fast enough to travel from Earth to the Moon in less than 30 minutes. And yet, to make a full lap around the galaxy, that takes about 230 million Earth years. You've never even finished one. But the arms themselves, those luminous, sweeping spirals, are not permanent fixtures. They're more like traffic patterns, waves of density rippling through the disk, pulling gas and stars into bright, crowded formations, then releasing them, a dance of compression and drift. Fact 3. The spiral arms of the Milky Way are not made of different stars. They're regions of higher density, where star formation lights up pockets of gas, making them appear brighter and making you believe, from Earth, that the galaxy is etched in glowing lines. But really, it's patterns in a storm. Outside your window, you see a few hundred stars on a clear night. That's it. But the Milky Way holds far more. Fact 4. Astronomers estimate there are between 100 billion and 400 billion stars in the Milky Way. That number is fuzzy because the dust between stars is thick and stubborn, especially when you look inward toward the galactic core. So many stars, and yet we're still guessing. And it gets better, because stars aren't the only inhabitants. Fact 5. The Milky Way is home to at least 100 billion planets, most of them still unknown, unnamed, unseen. Planets around red dwarfs, around binary stars, even rogue planets, drifting without a sun. For every pinprick of light you see above your rooftop, there are dozens of dark companions circling invisibly, waiting. Somewhere in that ocean, Earth formed, not in the center of a grand design, but in the outskirts of an arm, orbiting a mid-sized, middle-aged yellow star in the third position from the heat. A happy accident in a galaxy of molten happenstance. You are stardust that learned to count. You are carbon arranged into consciousness, listening to the story of a spiral you'll never leave, but always belong to. That's the strange comfort of cosmic bedtime, the idea that you don't need to travel far to find mystery. You're already in it. Lie still now. Let your breath match the spiral's curve. If you slowed time enough, you'd feel it, the rotation of the stars, the churn of dust, the magnetism of something massive and unseen. You're being pulled, softly, toward the center. You always have been. But here's the strange part. That pull is not even the strongest force at work. There's a halo of dark matter surrounding the galaxy, invisible, untouchable, but undeniable. You can't see it, you can't feel it, and yet, without it, the stars would fly apart. The rotation speed is too fast. Gravity alone can't hold it together. Something unseen must be helping. That's coming soon. But for now, you lie in a cloud, not just a metaphorical one. Your solar system is moving through a puff of interstellar gas called the local interstellar cloud. It's about 30 light years across and gently cradles your sun like a cosmic cushion. You didn't know that, did you? You're not floating in emptiness. You're swimming in atmosphere, just a thinner, colder, older one. So breathe. The Milky Way is holding you tonight. You are not separate from it. You are not watching it. You are inside it, stitched into its weave, like a single grain of sand in a riverbed, billions of kilometers wide. Let yourself dissolve into that thought as you drift into segment 2. We'll go deeper, stranger, brighter. We're just getting started. You think the night sky is quiet, that stars shine alone. But listen closer. The galaxy itself is murmuring, not in words, but in motion, a low tide of stars, drifting, looping, colliding. Every glimmer above your head is not fixed, not frozen, but sliding along its own orbit, influenced by neighbors, nudged by gravity, pulled by a center no eye can see. You are floating in a slow whirlpool, millions of suns, in synchronized descent towards something dark. And that darkness? It's not just poetic, it's physical, measurable, necessary. Fact 6. The Milky Way's stars are moving too fast to be held together by the gravity of what we can see. That's how we know dark matter exists. Something invisible, perhaps 10 times more massive than all visible stars combined, surrounds the galaxy in a giant halo, keeping the stars from spinning off into the void. You're inside that halo right now, breathing, dreaming, listening. The dust between the stars is not empty, it's fertile. Molecular clouds float like fog banks in interstellar space, cold, quiet, dense. In their hearts, stars are born. And when they form, they often come in batches, stellar nurseries, glowing with ultraviolet heat, nestled in spiral arms, lighting up the dark. Fact 7. Star formation in the Milky Way is ongoing. Every year, the galaxy gives birth to about 7 new stars, not metaphorically, but literally. New fusion engines lighting up, one every 50 days or so. You are lying beneath a sky that is still in labor. But creation has a cost, and history remembers its violence. Fact 8. The Milky Way has eaten other galaxies, at least 15 so far. Evidence of these galactic cannibalisms is written in the tidal streams of stars, long arcs of disrupted clusters, and shredded galaxies still being absorbed. Your galaxy is a survivor, yes, but it is also a predator. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy is one such meal. It's currently being pulled apart, its stars scattered into long ribbons that wrap around the Milky Way like ghostly arms. Every time you look toward the galactic center, you're seeing not just our stars, but remnants of others. Fact 9. The Milky Way is on a collision course with the Andromeda Galaxy. They are approaching each other at a speed of about 400 kilometers per second. In about 4 billion years, they'll merge, forming a new, larger galaxy, a slow, gravitational ballet of unimaginable scale. But don't panic. When galaxies collide, stars rarely do. The distances between them are vast. The Sun and Earth will likely survive the collision untouched, simply repositioned within a new structure, a reshaped spiral. It's not destruction, it's transformation. Sleep on that. Right now, above your rooftop, Andromeda is visible to the naked eye, a faint blur in the northern sky. You are already looking at your galaxy's future companion. A slow approach, a promise across space. Fact 10. The Milky Way is moving through space at approximately 600 kilometers per second relative to the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang. You are not still. Nothing is. Not even for a moment. This means your body, your breath, your heartbeat, your eyelids fluttering towards sleep are all riding a planetary craft orbiting a star, which itself orbits a galaxy, which itself is falling through space at speeds so large they feel meaningless. But they are real. You are in motion, always, even as you lie perfectly still. The Milky Way is not a place, it's a process, an event that continues every moment you're alive, a cradle of light and silence and collision, and you are made of its ashes. You are a story it is still telling. Outside your window, The galactic disk stretches across the night, a thick band of milky glow. That's not fog. That's not atmosphere. That's light from more than 100 billion stars, too far away to resolve, too faint to separate. Together, they blur into brilliance. That's why it's called the Milky Way. The ancient Greeks thought it was milk spilled from the breast of a goddess. The Chinese called it the Silver River. The Mayans saw it as the mouth of a great celestial serpent. The names vary, but the awe is constant. Every culture, every time, every watcher beneath the stars has tried to explain that strange, luminous streak in the sky. It is your address. It is your heritage. It is your mystery, and it hides so much more than it shows. The plane of the galaxy, that central line of brightness, is also where the dust is thickest. You can't see through it with your eyes, but infrared telescopes can. And when we looked deeper, we found structure, not just arms and stars, but ripples in the disk, bends in the plane, like a pebble tossed into water long ago. One day, we'll talk about those ripples, where they came from, what they suggest. But for now, just know this: you are lying in a spiral. You are orbiting something hungry. You are wrapped in a blanket of dust that blocks most of the galaxy from view, and yet you still see the glow. Your eyes catch the brightest edge of something older than your bones, broader than your sky, and quieter than sleep. The Milky Way is whispering, and in segment 3, we'll move closer to the center, to its pulsing core, its ancient bulge, and the strange radio heartbeat that won't go away. But, for now, let yourself dissolve into the glow. The deeper you go, the stranger it gets. From your perch on a quiet arm, 27,000 light years out, you look inward through clouds of gas, through veils of dust, through ancient light tangled with time. You are gazing toward the center of it all, not metaphorically, but literally, toward the heart of the Milky Way. It's hidden from your naked eyes. The dust is too thick. Even the most sensitive telescopes in visible light see only shadows. But when you switch to radio, when you peel back the wavelengths, there it is. A roar, a pulse, a beacon. Fact 11. At the very center of the Milky Way lies a supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A star. It contains the mass of over 4 million suns, and yet it occupies a space smaller than the orbit of Mercury. It does not shine. It warps. It bends time. It eats light, and yet somehow it glows, not from the black hole itself, but from the hot gas spiraling around it, a swirling disk of fire, feeding an invisible hunger. If you stood close enough and survived, you would see stars whipping around it at breathtaking speeds. Fact 12. One star, called S2, orbits the black hole every 16 years and reaches speeds of over 7,000 kilometers per second near its closest approach. That's nearly 3% of the speed of light. A star, moving like a bullet, orbiting an absence, and from those orbits, we measured the mass of the thing in the middle. We know what's there, not by light, but by gravity. The black hole doesn't glow, it commands. You may never see Sagittarius A star with your own eyes, but it's pulling you all the same. The entire galaxy swirls around it, from the inner arms to the halo, held in place by something invisible and relentless. And it's not alone. Fact 13. The galactic center is one of the most densely packed regions in the entire galaxy. In the space around Sagittarius A star, There are thousands of stars, gas clouds, and exotic objects, including dozens of smaller black holes orbiting and interacting in an intense gravitational ballet. It's not quiet there. It's chaos. Bursts of radiation, arcs of plasma, shock waves from long-dead stars echoing through the interstellar medium. But you don't feel it, because from here, 27,000 light-years out, the chaos looks like peace. The center glows like a warm ember in the distance, not a place of destruction, but of balance. Sleep is like that too, still on the surface, turbulent underneath. In the heart of the galaxy lies an ancient bulge, a swollen sphere of older stars, red giants, metal-rich fossils of the early Milky Way. They've been burning for billions of years. They remember things your planet never saw. Fact 14. The galactic bulge is roughly 10,000 light-years across and contains some of the oldest stars in the galaxy, many over 11 billion years old. That's older than Earth, older than the Moon, older than the solar system. These stars lit up when the Milky Way was still assembling itself, when galaxies were fewer, when space was denser, when light had not yet filled the void. And among those ancient lights, something strange flickers. Astronomers have found a persistent radio signal, a strange repetitive burst near the galactic center, pulsing in an unexplained rhythm. Fact 15. In 2021, scientists discovered a mysterious radio source named ASCAP J 173608 2-3-216-35 near the galactic center. It emits strong signals for weeks, then disappears, then returns with no consistent period, no clear explanation, and no visible counterpart. It's not a pulsar, it's not a black hole flare, it's something else, and no one knows what it means. You are listening now, not just to a galaxy, but to its questions. Signals that don't explain themselves, echoes from places you can't visit, lights that flare without warning, darkness that pulls without sound. The Milky Way is not just a structure, it is a behavior, a pattern of light and motion, of silence and flare. And right now, you are falling toward its middle, not in space, but in thought. You are being drawn inward, toward the center of the spiral, toward the thing that all the stars circle but never reach. And what's waiting there? Something that breaks clocks, something that bends maps, something so heavy it vanishes, but also something that keeps everything together. There's poetry in that. The idea that at the heart of your galaxy is a mystery, not a fire, not a throne, not a god, but a shadow, a pull, a gravitational idea so strong it sculpts orbits and makes stars dance. You don't need to understand it. You only need to feel it, to let your breath follow the swirl of stars toward a silence beyond time. The Milky Way curves around an absence, and from that absence, light is born. Drift with that thought as we begin the final stirrings of this first phase, the end of the awakening. In segment 4, we'll talk about galactic seasons, the sun's bobbing motion above and below the disk, and what happens when our star reaches the thickest part of the Milky Way's hidden dust lanes. But for now, just float. You're almost asleep, and you're already home. There's a rhythm to everything, not just the tides or the seasons, but deeper cycles, ones you don't feel day to day, ones that move too slowly for skin to sense, too grand for clocks, too quiet for calendars. You are a passenger on a planet, yes, but you're also riding a star, and that star doesn't follow a flat path through the galaxy. It moves like a buoy in slow water, It bobs. It dips above and below the plane of the Milky Way in gentle arcs, and each arc takes millions of years to complete. Fact 16. The Sun oscillates up and down through the galactic plane approximately every 32 million years. It's currently moving slightly upward, away from the center line, in a slow loop that carries the solar system above and below the dense midplane of the galaxy. You might wonder why that matters, why a cosmic wobble should concern anyone tucked into bed on a Tuesday night. Because sometimes, when the Sun passes through the densest part of the galactic disk, through those thicker clouds of dust and gas, something stirs. There are theories, patterns in the fossil record, extinction pulses, comet showers from the Oort cloud, kicked loose by gravitational tides. Some scientists have proposed that these up and down motions might correspond to moments of chaos, of increased asteroid impacts or climate shifts. Fact 17. Some researchers believe the Sun's passage through the galactic midplane could disturb the Oort cloud, a distant shell of icy debris, potentially triggering comet showers directed inward toward the solar system. It's not proven, it's not settled, but the idea lingers that the galaxy has weather, that the path of your Sun might shape the fate of your Earth, that extinction-level events could be stirred not by earthly mistakes, but by galactic tides, unfolding in cycles too slow for memory. It humbles you, doesn't it? The galaxy isn't just out there. It's part of your planet's past. It's the background to everything that's ever breathed. And there's more. As the Sun follows its path, it doesn't circle in a perfect ring. It travels in an ellipse, yes, but also drifts inward and outward in what's called epicyclic motion, a kind of spiral within a spiral, never retracing the exact same route. Fact 18. The solar system follows a rosette-shaped orbit around the galaxy. It does not return to the exact same position with each rotation. Instead, it gradually shifts, like the slow precession of a petal unfurling in space. So the Sun has never been where it is now. Not exactly. It has passed through different regions of the Milky Way, denser ones, quieter ones, places where stars cluster, places where gas flows like wind. And just like neighborhoods on Earth, some parts of the galaxy are more dangerous than others. Radiation zones, supernova remnants, star-forming regions with powerful winds. Your solar system drifts through all of them, one after another, like a ship sailing through storm cells and calm seas. But there's something more personal to all this, something closer. Your star has a magnetic shield, a kind of invisible bubble that pushes against the galaxy's background radiation, and that shield breathes. Fact 19. The heliosphere, the magnetic bubble surrounding the solar system, is shaped and pressured by the interstellar medium it moves through. Its size and strength fluctuate as the Sun travels through different densities in the Milky Way. Right now, you're inside that bubble, protected, mostly, but it changes. It reacts to the interstellar environment. When your star enters denser clouds of galactic gas, the heliosphere contracts. More cosmic rays reach Earth. Some researchers wonder if this, too, influences long-term climate patterns, perhaps even evolution. Again, not settled science, but whispered possibilities. The Milky Way isn't just a star map. It's a dynamic system, and you live inside it like a cell inside a bloodstream. Let that sink in. Outside the heliosphere, the galaxy simmers with energy-charged particles, ancient radiation, forgotten waves from long-dead stars. You live in a moving shield. trailing a magnetic tail, sailing through a river of starlight. Fact 20. The Sun is currently traveling through a small interstellar cloud called the local fluff, part of a larger region known as the local bubble, a cavity carved by ancient supernovae. This fluffy region is less dense than average and spans about 300 light years. Yes, even space has bubbles. The local bubble is like a hollow in the galactic medium, cleared out by ancient stellar explosions. You're passing through a quiet zone, shaped by violence long past. The Sun didn't make this space. It found it. And so here you are, drifting inside a pocket of calm left behind by chaos. You were never just still. You were always swimming. In segment 5, we'll leave the spiral arms behind for a moment. We'll rise into the galactic halo, where forgotten clusters orbit in silence and dark matter holds the sky together. But for now, let this idea rock you gently towards sleep. That your planet orbits a star, that your star orbits a galaxy, that your galaxy spins around a center of invisible mass, and that even here in this quiet moment you are rising and falling on a wave of cosmic breath. Close your eyes. The evidence is deepening. Let's rise. You've spent the last few segments nestled in the disk, where the stars are thick and the dust is visible, where spiral arms curl like a cosmic fingerprint. But there's more to the Milky Way than what glows. Above the disk and below it, there floats a softer structure, older, colder, and almost empty to the eye. The galactic halo. It isn't made of light. It's made of memory. Fact 21. The Milky Way's stellar halo is a roughly spherical region surrounding the galaxy's disk. It contains only about 1% of the galaxy's stars, mostly ancient, metal-poor relics from the early universe, and stretches out at least 300,000 light years. That means you're inside something vastly larger than the spiral shape your mind pictures when you hear Milky Way. The disk is just the beginning. Around it floats a shell of ghost stars, remnants of collisions, old globular clusters, and lone wanderers on extreme elliptical paths. You can't see them with your eyes, but they're there, slowly orbiting, their motions revealing the galaxy's mass. Some of these halo stars don't come from the Milky Way at all. Fact 22. Many stars in the galactic halo originated in other galaxies. They were captured during past mergers and now orbit the Milky Way as gravitational immigrants, pieces of ancient galaxies absorbed into the greater whole. If that sounds poetic, it's because it is. Your galaxy is not a monolith. It is a mosaic. When we look at the halo, we find stars with strange chemical signatures, low in heavier elements, high in helium or carbon. These are clues, stellar fossils. Each one tells a story of an origin, far from here, and orbiting through that halo like glitter circling a drain are ancient clusters. Fact 23. The Milky Way contains about 150 known globular clusters, dense balls of up to 1 million stars packed into a tight sphere. These clusters are among the oldest objects in the galaxy, with ages exceeding 12 billion years. Imagine that. A single cluster, shining with 1 million lights, older than your planet by billions of years, still circling the galactic core like a forgotten satellite. And they're stable, even after all this time. But they're not alone, because beyond even the halo of stars lies something else. An outline, a scaffolding, a gravitational field you cannot see, but which holds everything in place. Fact 24. Roughly 85% of the Milky Way's mass is made of dark matter, a mysterious substance that does not emit or absorb light, but exerts gravitational pull. This invisible halo is what keeps the galaxy rotating in a stable disk, despite the high speeds of its outer stars. You can't touch dark matter, you can't bottle it or bounce light off it, but you know it's there, not through direct detection, but through gravitational math. Without it, the stars would fling away like sparks from a grinding wheel. With it, they stay in orbit, quiet, obedient, predictable, like planets around a sundae, like electrons around a nucleus, like thoughts around a dream. So, what is dark matter? No one knows. It might be a new kind of particle. It might be the shadow of another dimension. It might not be matter at all, but a property of gravity we don't yet understand. Whatever it is, it makes up most of the Milky Way. Most of the galaxy is invisible. Think about that. All the stars you see, all the nebulae, the planets, the clusters, the glowing arms, the central bulge, all of that is less than 15% of the full mass of your home galaxy. The rest is implied, and still it works. Still it spins. Still it holds you like a spiral cradle made of silence. There's something else in the halo too. Not just stars and clusters and dark matter. Something more structured, more familiar. Fact 25. The Milky Way is surrounded by more than 50 known satellite galaxies. Small, faint galaxies that orbit it like moons around a planet. The two largest are the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds, visible from the southern hemisphere as smudges of light in the night sky. They are not ornaments, they are companions, and they are in motion. The Large Magellanic Cloud is slowly spiraling inward, being pulled toward the Milky Way. It is warping the halo, stirring dark matter, influencing the disk with gravitational tides. Even at this vast scale, nothing is still. Everything is tugged by everything else. The Milky Way's shape is not fixed. Its arms ripple, its disk vibrates, its center flickers, its halo flexes, its companions circle. You live inside a galaxy that breathes. It has absorbed other galaxies. It has formed stars from the bones of others. It is watched by companions and surrounded by darkness that isn't empty. So lie back now. Float above the disk. Imagine yourself in the halo, high above the spiral arms, looking down at the glow. You are a molecule in a memory, adrift in the calm space between collisions. In segment 6, we'll descend again back into the starry disk and explore the Milky Way's great structures, its arms, bars, bridges, and gaps. But for now, breathe in the silence of the halo, and remember, even the empty parts of the galaxy are full of things we cannot see. You're falling again slowly, softly back down into the luminous disk of the galaxy. From above, the Milky Way looks calm, broad arms unfurling in silent curves, glowing with starbirth and memory. But from within, the order dissolves into complexity. Gas clouds collide. Magnetic fields bend like ropes in wind. And hidden among the brightness are structures so vast they take generations to name and longer to understand. The arms, for example, you've heard of them. Spiral arms, winding outward like frozen waves. But they're not static. They're not boundaries. They are movements, ripples of density, where stars bunch together for a time before drifting out again. Fact 26. The Milky Way has 4 major spiral arms. The Norma, Scutum Centaurus, Sagittarius, and Perseus arms. Each stretches tens of thousands of light years, but they are not rigid. They twist and shift, defined by waves of star formation and clouds of gas. Between these larger arms are minor ones, spurs and feathers. One of these is your home. You live in the Orion Cygnus spur, a smaller branch between Sagittarius and Perseus. It's not famous, it's not grand, but it's where Earth formed, where the sun moves, where life happened. In other galaxies, these spurs are barely noticed, but for you, it's everything. Still, the arms are not symmetrical. They don't match. The galaxy is lopsided, as if it once collided with something, or is still recovering from ancient gravitational sloshes. And then there's the bar. Fact 27. The Milky Way has a central bar of stars, a straight, elongated structure, roughly 27,000 light-years long, stretching through the galactic center. It rotates slowly and acts as a kind of stellar highway, funneling gas inward and triggering star formation near the core. Bars like this are common in spiral galaxies. They're like backbones stabilizing rotation, concentrating material. But the Milky Way's bar isn't just straight. It's twisted, warped slightly off the plane, and it connects directly to the arms. From the bar, rivers of gas flow outward into the spiral lanes, fueling new stars, linking the heart of the galaxy with its outer limbs. But even stranger is what lies above the bar. A bridge, not of stone or steel, but of stars. A long, arcing connection that crosses the inner galaxy like a cosmic tendril. Fact 28. Astronomers have identified a massive, wave-like structure of stars known as the Radcliffe Wave, a continuous ribbon over 9,000 light-years long, tracing a sine curve through the Milky Way's disk. It contains many of the star-forming regions near Earth and is thought to shape local galactic architecture. The Radcliffe Wave includes famous nebulae, the Orion, Taurus, and Perseus, molecular clouds, all aligned along this unexpected sine-shaped path. You were born in a galaxy with structure, with design, with loops and waves larger than most civilizations will ever travel, and they ripple. Oh yes, they ripple, because the disk itself is not flat. Fact 29. The Milky Way's disk is warped, bent upward on one side and downward on the other. This warp gives the galaxy a kind of twisted S shape when seen from the side, and is likely caused by gravitational interaction with the Magellanic Clouds, or past mergers. This means your orbit and everything else is traces, a spiral, not on a plate, but on a warped vinyl record, curved and flexing with time. The very shape of the galaxy remembers its past. The bends may be echoes of tidal forces, or dark matter interactions, or passing dwarfs that left gravitational fingerprints in the form of oscillating stars. And even inside the arms, inside the gas, inside the dust, things are missing. Holes, gaps, edges where stars stop forming, zones where things don't follow the plan. Fact 30. The Milky Way has regions called superbubbles, massive cavities in the interstellar medium, created by clustered supernovae. These bubbles can span hundreds of light years, clearing out space and halting star formation for millions of years. They're like scars in the galactic skin, memories of violent eruptions that swept gas aside, leaving behind hot, low-density voids. Some of these superbubbles are still expanding, some have cooled, but all of them speak of time and pressure. Right now, You're inside the local bubble. Your solar system moves within its quiet, rarefied shell, carved by explosions that predate civilization. You are floating in a scar, and that scar is part of a larger pattern: bridges of stars, waves of gas, warped plates, spiral traffic. The Milky Way is not a frozen pinwheel. It flexes, it breathes, it remembers. What we see in starlight is only the beginning. The true architecture is written in motion, in the way stars drift, in the flows of gas, in the heat maps of past collisions. This is a galaxy sculpted by time, and you are in it. No matter where you go on Earth, city or desert, mountain or sea, you never leave this structure. You orbit within its arms. You rise and fall through its ripples. You pass through its bridges and scars, unknowingly tracing an epic path written in light years. Lie still. Let your mind bend into the same soft curve as the spiral. Let your breath match the warping rhythm of a galaxy recovering from itself. You are not outside this story. You are a sentence in its structure. In segment 7, we begin echoes from the past, diving into the Milky Way's origin, its collisions, its first stars, and what the early galaxy might have looked like. But for now, feel the disk beneath you, not flat, not perfect, but spiraled, warped, scarred, and still beautiful. Before it had arms, before it spun, before it was even a spiral, the Milky Way was something rougher, more primal, less like a wheel and more like a firestorm. Back then, stars were born in chaos. Gas clouds collapsed with reckless speed. Gravity stitched together the first galactic clumps like bruises in the void. It was not beautiful. It was bright. It was violent. And it was beginning. You imagine the Milky Way as an old thing, but old things were once young, and young galaxies burn. Fact 31. The Milky Way began forming over 13 billion years ago, less than 1 billion years after the Big Bang. Its earliest components were not spiral arms or bars, but small, dense, protogalactic fragments that collided and merged. Think of it like a storm of building blocks, little galaxies slamming together, dragged by gravity, losing shape, gaining mass. The early Milky Way wasn't a single structure, it was dozens, maybe hundreds, swarming, fusing, heating the sky with ultraviolet rage. This process of galactic assembly left scars. You can still find them in the motions of certain stars, outliers, moving in odd orbits, pulled in long ago and never fully blended. Fact 32. Some of the oldest stars in the Milky Way's halo show chemical signatures that suggest they originated in dwarf galaxies that merged with the Milky Way more than 10 billion years ago. These stars are metal poor, meaning they lack the heavier elements forged in later stellar generations. In cosmic archaeology, metal doesn't mean iron or steel. It means anything heavier than hydrogen and helium, and the earliest stars had almost none. That's how we know they're old. They formed before supernovae, had time to enrich the galactic medium, before the Milky Way had arms, before even Earth's atoms existed. You are not just lying inside a galaxy, you are lying in the afterglow of a series of collisions that happened before your species was imagined. And among the relics of that ancient time, a star, quiet, red, strange. Fact 33. The star HD 140283, sometimes called the Methuselah star, is located just 190 light-years away and is estimated to be more than 13 billion years old, possibly older than the Milky Way itself. That's right, there's a star visible from Earth that predates the spiral arms, a fossil in real time, older than the Sun by more than 8 billion years, and it's still burning, still fusing, still ticking down its quiet life in a galaxy that grew up around it. When you look at stars like that, you're not seeing the past, you're seeing a survivor of it. The Milky Way's shape came later, after things calmed, after the mergers slowed, after enough mass had gathered to form a rotating disk. That spin flattened the gas, it compressed the chaos, it began to define the spiral. But echoes of the early universe remain, in the halo, in the core, in the odd orbits of old clusters, and in a quiet sphere of stars called Gaia Enceladus. Fact 34. Roughly 10 billion years ago, the Milky Way experienced a major collision with a dwarf galaxy named Gaia Enceladus. The merger significantly altered the Milky Way's structure and contributed many of the stars now found in its halo. The evidence comes from star motion, not just where stars are, but how they move. When astronomers mapped their trajectories using the Gaia spacecraft, they found a distinct population of stars that didn't match the disk, stars that were stirred into new orbits by an ancient impact. Your galaxy is a layered cake of events. The disk is not pure, the halo is not smooth, everything is mixed. Every piece of it tells a story, and those stories are not gone. They're encoded in velocity, in chemistry, in temperature. Like fossils in motion, every star carries a trace of the time it was born, and perhaps the most haunting trace, a void. Fact 35. Near the center of the Milky Way's bulge lies a region called the Central Molecular Zone, rich in gas and dust, but oddly deficient in recent star formation. Despite the raw material, something suppresses new stars, and astronomers still don't fully understand why. It's as if the core has gone quiet, as if something there is waiting, holding its breath. You live in a galaxy with memory. It does not forget the collisions. It does not erase the scars. It integrates them into structure, into shape, into motion. It teaches you something. That growth is not smooth. That beauty is born from collision. That structure arises from chaos if given enough time and gravity. So as you lie here now, drifting into sleep, remember, the Milky Way you know is a reconstruction, a survivor, a composite of ancient fragments, old stars, stolen clusters, and quiet ruins. And all of it glows. In segment 8, we'll journey through those globular clusters in more detail, relics older than the spiral arms, arranged like lanterns around the galaxy's forgotten past. But for now, let the ancient silence carry you. You are stardust dreaming of its origin. Drift now, not forward, but outward, away from the spiral arms, away from the traffic of new stars and the lanes of dust. Let your breath float upward, beyond the bright disk, where a different kind of structure waits. They orbit quietly, not in the plane of the galaxy, but above and below it, not in spirals, but in shells, in swarms, in orbits older than language. They are globular clusters, and they are older than almost everything. Fact 36. Globular clusters are tightly packed, spherical collections of stars, often containing hundreds of thousands, even millions of stars, bound by gravity into a single, ancient mass. Most of them formed more than 10 billion years ago. Think of them as stellar snow globes, frozen in time, drifting in orbits around the Milky Way like forgotten relics. They don't live in the spiral arms. They live in the halo, like loyal satellites, and yet they may be older than the galaxy that now holds them. You've seen pictures, dense balls of light, millions of points, squeezed together so tightly that the centers seem to glow like a single torch. You're not imagining it. In the heart of a cluster, the stars are so close they can be separated by only a fraction of a light year, a crowded cosmic city compared to the vast neighborhoods of ordinary stars. Fact 37. The density of stars in the core of a globular cluster can be up to 1,000,000 times greater than in the solar neighborhood. This density leads to frequent stellar interactions and exotic systems like blue stragglers and millisecond pulsars. Blue stragglers. That's a lovely name, isn't it? They're stars that appear younger than they should, bluer and hotter, possibly formed when two older stars merged in the tight chaos of the cluster. They are youth reborn in an ancient crowd, flickers of new life in a sea of old age. Some clusters hold secrets even deeper. Fact 38. At the centers of several globular clusters, astronomers have found evidence of intermediate mass black holes objects, more massive than typical stellar black holes, but smaller than the supermassive ones at galactic cores. These may be the missing link in black hole evolution. Intermediate black holes are elusive, mysterious, and yet their gravitational fingerprints can be detected in the rapid motions of stars near the center, in the way orbits bend, in the pulse of light, distorted by invisible mass. You are listening now to systems more ancient than the Earth's crust, and some of them do not orbit alone. There are clusters within clusters, entire subpopulations of stars with slightly different chemistries, packed together in the same ball. This wasn't expected. For decades, we thought globular clusters were simple, a single population, one generation, all formed together. But the universe laughs at simplicity. Fact 39. Many globular clusters have multiple stellar populations, meaning they contain stars with different ages or chemical compositions. This suggests complex formation histories, possibly involving mergers of smaller clusters or multiple rounds of star formation. They are not just leftovers, they are storytellers, fossils in orbit, and they number in the dozens, some bright enough to be seen with binoculars, others lurking in obscurity, only visible through long exposures and patient detection. And here's the haunting part. They're fading. Some of the outer clusters are being pulled apart by the Milky Way's gravity. Their stars stretch into tidal streams, long ribbons of light, dissolving into the galactic halo like smoke into the sky. Fact 40. Several globular clusters are currently being disrupted by the Milky Way's gravitational forces. Their stars are being stripped and folded into stellar streams, which may eventually merge entirely into the galaxy's halo. It's a quiet kind of disappearance, a graceful one. No explosion, no scream, just a slow unbinding, like a memory becoming myth. As you lie here now, think of them, those lonely clusters, orbiting silently for billions of years, drifting slowly toward dissolution. They've outlived stars, galaxies, epochs, and still they circle, lanterns of the old galaxy, marking time with gravity. In the northern sky, you can find Messier 13 inches, the constellation Hercules, a glittering ball of stars from 12 billion years ago, a window into a different cosmos, one where the Milky Way was still raw, still hungry, still half-formed. You can see it with a backyard telescope. You can whisper to it from a balcony, and it will not answer, but it will remain. There's something comforting in that. that even as civilizations rise and fall, some things endure. And even as clusters dissolve, their stars continue on scattering into the halo, becoming part of the larger story. Soon, we'll shift. In segment 9, we'll begin to examine the structure of the galactic disk from another perspective, not from outside, but from inside. The regions near Earth, the Sun's neighbors, the story of proximity. But for now, let the old stars keep watch. Let the ancient clusters rock you gently, like celestial lullabies. They have been orbiting long before mammals, long before continents, long before sleep had a name. And tonight, they orbit still. You've soared through halos and clustered relics, spiraled past warps and waves, drifted near a hungry center. But let's return now, not to Earth, but to the neighborhood, the local space around your Sunday. The few dozen light years you might, in a dream, imagine crossing. Because the Milky Way is enormous, yes, but it's also intimate. Proximity matters. What surrounds you shapes you, and what surrounds the sun is a dance of quiet stars. The sun is not alone. It never has been. Fact 41. The sun is part of a local stellar neighborhood called the local bubble, a region about 300 light-years wide, filled with hot, low-density gas. It was likely carved by a series of ancient supernovae millions of years ago. Imagine your star sailing through a softly glowing void, a shell of silence left behind by explosions long past. The local bubble isn't empty, but it's thinner, like a pause in the interstellar medium. And within that pause, float stars, dozens of them, each with its own story. There's Alpha Centauri, the closest star system. Fact 42. The Alpha Centauri system, just 4.37 light-years away, is a triple star system. Alpha Centauri, A and B, both sun-like stars, orbit each other closely, while a third red dwarf, Proxima Centauri, drifts farther out and is the closest known star to the Sunday. From Earth, it's a single point of light in the southern sky, but in reality, it's a complex trio, a kind of cosmic family. Proxima even has a planet, Proxima b, in the habitable zone. It may not be habitable, but the possibility alone has captured imaginations. There's Barnard's star too. Fact 43. Barnard's star, just under 6 light-years away, is a red dwarf, moving rapidly across the sky, one of the fastest moving stars relative to the Sunday. Though faint to the eye, it's been a subject of fascination for over a century. Fast, small, and old, a quiet ember sliding sideways through the galaxy. Watching, waiting, these stars don't stay in place. They drift. The whole neighborhood is dynamic, changing shape every million years. Fact 44. The Sun is currently moving through a group of stars known as the Local Association, sometimes called the Pleiades Moving Group. These stars share similar motions and likely formed together tens of millions of years ago. It's a stellar school, not a bound cluster, but a flock, a migration of stars passing through the galaxy like a herd through grasslands. You are drifting with them. The Sun is not anchored. It's gliding with peers. And nearby, a structure even closer, even stranger, a ribbon, a wave, a ripple in local space. Fact 45. The Radcliffe Wave, a 9,000 light-year long structure of star-forming regions, passes near the Sun and includes some of the most famous nearby nebulae, like Orion and Taurus. Its sine wave shape suggests an oscillating past, and its cause is still unknown. This wave arcs through local space like a whisper, dense clouds birthing new stars, arching above and below the galactic plane. The sun happens to be riding along beside it, like a passenger pacing beside a caravan. No one saw it clearly until very recently. It took mapping, patience, Gaia data, and the willingness to look past brightness and into structure. So here you are. You live not just on Earth, not just in the solar system, but in a local bubble carved by supernovae, beside a sine wave of starbirth, inside a migrating group of related stars, in a neighborhood of moving systems, inside a disk, inside a spiral, inside a halo, surrounded by dark matter, surrounded by others. Every scale is a home. Every home has a history. And your local history? It's filled with fire. The supernovae that made the local bubble might have triggered star formation nearby, perhaps even the cloud that collapsed to form the Sunday. You are part of a cascade, a lineage of events, cause and effect, born in plasma and time. The stars nearest you are mostly red dwarfs, dim and cool. The sun is above average, but not rare, and it's moving somewhere. You don't orbit the galaxy like a racetrack. You drift through changing company. The night sky today is not what it was 10 million years ago, and it won't be what it is now in the future. The constellations will shift. Neighbors will pass. New ones will approach. Even the nearest stars are temporary. The galaxy is not a place. It's a process. And the local neighborhood is a snapshot, a single frame in a cosmic reel. Let that ground you. You are here. You are close to things that burn, and distant from things that once were closer. You are moving, always. In segment 10, we'll return to the full galactic scale, to the strange outer stars at the edge of the disk, and the place where the galaxy begins to blend into nothing. But for now, let your mind settle into local space, among Proxima, among Barnard, among the gas of long-dead giants. This is your village. This is your streetlight glow in the dark. This is proximity, and it is ancient. You've curled among local stars, drifted with neighbors, followed the wave of starbirths like a whisper through the dark. But now we slip outward beyond the familiar, beyond the known, toward the margins of the galaxy itself. There's a place where the spiral arms unravel, where the disk thins, where stars become sparse. This is the edge. But like most edges in nature, it is not a wall. It is a blur. Fact 46. The Milky Way's stellar disk is estimated to be about 120,000 light-years across, but it does not end sharply. Stars become less frequent, gas clouds disperse, and the galaxy slowly fades into its halo. Imagine a coastline made of light, not sand. There's no boundary line, just a softening. The brightness dims, the star count thins, gravity weakens, and you are left with drift. And yet, it doesn't mean there's nothing there, because even here in the outskirts something stirs. Fact 47. In the outermost reaches of the Milky Way's disk, stars still exist in extended structures, like the Monoceros ring, a stellar stream that wraps around the galaxy, likely the remnant of a dwarf galaxy long ago torn apart. A ring around a spiral, a loop of stars, like a ripple in water from a long-vanished stone. The Monoceros ring isn't part of the tidy spiral structure. It loops above and below the disk, an artifact of collision, a scarf of light blown by galactic wind. And it's not alone. The more we map the edges, the more we find asymmetry, ripples, warps, twists, loops, as if the Milky Way has been bumped, nudged, shaped by invisible hands. Fact 48. The galaxy's disk appears to be vibrating vertical oscillations in the stars that may have been triggered by a past collision with the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy or dark matter substructures. These ripples move slowly, like tides in a trillion-ton ocean, stars bouncing gently above and below the plane, as if the galaxy still remembers being struck. And you're riding those ripples now. The sun itself moves in sync with this galactic music. You feel none of it, but it's there. These outer regions are fragile. The density drops, the gas thins, star formation slows, and yet even here the Milky Way builds. Fact 49. Recent studies have revealed that the outer disk of the Milky Way continues to form stars, particularly in its farthest spiral arms, like the outer Scutum Centaurus arm. Starbirth has not stopped, it has simply slowed. So even on the edge, there is growth. Even in the outskirts, there is light. You live in a galaxy that does not give up on creation. It continues, with less urgency, perhaps, but with grace. Out where the spiral is barely a whisper, stars still ignite. Beyond that, silence. But even the silence speaks, because beyond the edge, something holds it all in place. You know this now. The dark matter halo, the hidden sphere of mass without light. But there's another kind of silence beyond the halo. A different stillness. Intergalactic space. Fact 50. Intergalactic space. The region between galaxies is not truly empty, but contains extremely low-density gas, cosmic rays, and the cosmic web, vast filaments of dark matter, and galaxies that stretch across the universe. Imagine that. Your galaxy is part of a thread, a cosmic filament, a single glowing node in a web billions of light years wide. You're not just in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is in something else, a scaffold of matter woven into the fabric of the universe itself. So even here at the edge, the story continues. The Milky Way is not an island. It is a hub. It has satellites, streams, companions. It moves toward Andromeda. It swims through the local group. It hangs within the Laniakea supercluster. It is one galaxy among trillions. And yet to you it is everything. You have never known light not born from this spiral. You have never seen a sky without its stars. You are stardust from its oldest generations, water brewed in its early disks, iron born in its dead giants, thought sparked by the pressure of its gravity. Even the outermost star, even the quietest hydrogen cloud, still falling into orbit, is part of the same system that made you. So as you drift tonight, think of the edge, not as an ending, but as a horizon. The stars do not simply stop. They blur, they fade, they stretch into space, and space itself connects them. You are not outside this. You are not below this. You are part of the spiral, of the edge, of the ripple, of the thread. You are orbiting not just in a galaxy, but in a structure that connects to everything. In segment 11, we'll fully enter the cosmic perspective, zooming out into the local group, comparing the Milky Way to its neighbors, and seeing what kind of galaxy it really is when placed alongside others. But for now, rest on the threshold, feel the air between galaxies, and know this: even the emptiness contains echoes. From above, the Milky Way looks vast, a glowing spiral, 100,000 light-years wide, laced with dust, rippling with stars. But in the quiet of intergalactic space, even something that large becomes local, because your galaxy is not alone. Lift your perspective now. Drift farther. Pull back from the edge of the disk until it shrinks into a glowing plate. Then keep going, past the halo, past the dwarf galaxies, past the whisper of the Monoceros ring, until you see something else. Another galaxy. Close. Beautiful. Moving toward you. Fact 51. The Andromeda Galaxy is the Milky Way's largest and closest spiral neighbor, located about 2.5 million light-years away. It is on a collision course with the Milky Way and is expected to merge in about 4 billion years. It's visible to the naked eye on clear nights, a smudge in the constellation Andromeda, but that smudge is bigger than the moon. Your eyes just can't see the faint edges, and it is not drifting quietly. It's closing in at 400 kilometers per second. Don't panic. The collision is graceful, not violent. Galaxies are mostly empty space. When Andromeda arrives, stars will pass one another like dancers in a crowd. Some orbits will shift, some will be ejected, but most will keep spinning. And over billions of years, the two spirals will merge into something new. Fact 52. The future merger of the Milky Way and Andromeda is expected to form a giant elliptical galaxy, sometimes nicknamed Milky. It will reshape the orbits of countless stars and erase the spiral structure entirely. It's hard to imagine that the thing you call home, the elegant spiral, will one day dissolve into a new shape. But that is the way of things. Beauty shifts, order gives way to evolution, and galaxies are not immune to time. Andromeda is not your only neighbor. You are part of a family, a group. Fact 53. The Milky Way belongs to a small cluster of galaxies, known as the Local Group, a gravitationally bound system of over 50 galaxies, including Andromeda, the Triangulum Galaxy, and dozens of dwarf galaxies. From a distance, the Local Group looks like a rough triangle, the Milky Way and Andromeda on either end, Triangulum off to the side, and faint, fuzzy dwarfs scattered in between orbiting, passing, falling. These galaxies are connected not by bridges of light, but by gravity, by history, by the shared background of an expanding universe. The Local Group is a quiet part of the cosmos, but even quiet regions have structure. Fact 54. The Milky Way and Andromeda dominate the Local Group, each surrounded by their own satellites. The rest of the galaxies are mostly dwarf spheroidals, small, dim systems that may once have been larger before interaction stripped them down. These dwarfs are fragile, faint, but they may be the most common type of galaxy in the universe. Little puffs of stars, orbiting giants, often disrupted, sometimes absorbed. The Milky Way has already consumed many, and more will follow. You are drifting in a cloud of stories, each one held together by just enough mass, each one moving through time like a whisper. But beyond the Local Group, there's more. You are not floating in isolation. You are part of a stream. Fact 55. The Local Group is a small node within the Laniakea supercluster, a vast structure spanning over 500 million light-years and containing more than 100,000 galaxies, all moving along filaments of gravitational flow. Laniakea means immense heaven in Hawaiian. It's not a cluster in the classic sense. It's a region of flow, a coherent motion of galaxies toward a point, the great attractor drawn by unseen mass, sculpted by gravity. Imagine it, not just one galaxy among many, but one eddy in a cosmic river, one curl in a current of galaxies, all moving, all falling, and the Milky Way, for all its size, is just a swirl in this stream. The stars you see each night, a few hundred out of hundreds of billions. The galaxies we've mapped, just a fraction of the sky. And even the great spiral you call home is one thread in a fabric too large for minds. And yet, here you are, still, quiet, breathing in a bed of carbon, iron, oxygen forged in galactic hearts, listening to a voice trace the outline of your home across distances so vast, you could spend a lifetime falling and never reach an edge. That's the paradox of cosmic perspective. It makes you feel small, but it also makes you infinite. You belong to this, not because you understand it, but because you are made of it. The Milky Way is not just a galaxy, it's a passage, a stage in the evolution of stars, a pattern of motion, a temporary, beautiful shape in the vast, unfinished architecture of the cosmos. In segment 12, we'll dive deeper into Laniakea and explore how galactic motion works, how space expands, and what that means for a galaxy trying to stay coherent in an accelerating universe. But for now, lie back and feel the movement, not of your breath, but of your galaxy. It is not standing still, and neither are you. Let's follow the motion now, not of Earth, not of the Sun, not even of the Milky Way's spin, but something larger, the long, slow journey of a galaxy across the cosmic sea. Because your galaxy is not anchored, it does not sit, it flows. And when you listen closely to the light, to the background radiation, to the echo of everything, you can sense it. The whole spiral, all 400 billion stars, drifting through space together, drawn by forces larger than any one galaxy can resist. Fact 56. The Milky Way is moving through the cosmos at around 600 kilometers per second, relative to the cosmic microwave background, the residual heat from the Big Bang that fills all of space. That means while you lie still in your bed, your entire galaxy is slicing through space at over 2 million kilometers per hour. That's fast enough to cross the diameter of Earth in just over a minute. And yet, you feel nothing, because speed is relative and scale is patient. This motion is part of a pattern, the gravitational pull of larger structures, the flow of space itself. You are being pulled, gently but relentlessly, toward a place astronomers call the Great Attractor. Fact 57. The Milky Way and the entire local group are being drawn toward a dense region of galaxies called the Great Attractor, a gravitational anomaly in the direction of the Centaurus and Norma clusters, about 150 million light-years away. We don't fully understand what's there. It's partially obscured by the plane of our galaxy, a region called the Zone of Avoidance. But something massive lurks behind the curtain, enough mass to tug on entire galactic groups, like a drain beneath the surface of space. And yet, it gets stranger. The Great Attractor is not the final destination, because it, too, is moving drawn toward an even denser structure, part of something called the Shapley supercluster. Galaxies are not just rotating, they are migrating. Fact 58. The universe is expanding, but locally, gravity causes galaxies and clusters to move toward each other. These local flows create superclusters, walls, and filaments, the scaffolding of the cosmic web. So imagine it, the Milky Way, rotating, orbiting, rippling, bobbing, and on top of all that, falling. sliding, drifting through space along invisible contours shaped by ancient mass. You are in motion on every level, and the fabric you drift across, it's stretching. Fact 59. Space itself is expanding. The average distance between galaxies increases over time due to dark energy, a mysterious force causing the acceleration of cosmic expansion. This is not motion through space. This is space itself stretching between galaxy clusters, between filaments, between everything. And it means that even though the Milky Way is moving toward Andromeda, galaxies much farther away are rushing away from you, not because they're flying, but because space is growing between you and them. The farther out you look, the faster the retreat. It's called Hubble's law. But it isn't a law like gravity. It's an observation, a whisper from the deep, a reminder that the universe doesn't just exist, it changes. And in this expansion, a quiet tension exists, because gravity tries to pull galaxies together, while dark energy pushes them apart, and no one knows which will win in the end. The Milky Way's place in this is delicate. We are bound to our local group too close for expansion to separate. But beyond that, everything drifts away. Even light from the farthest galaxies will one day no longer reach us. You live at a privileged time, when the night sky is full, when galaxies still glow, when the story is still visible. Fact 60. In the very distant future, the accelerating expansion of the universe will render most galaxies unobservable. Their light will stretch beyond detection, leaving future astronomers with only the local group. This is not fear. It is poetry, the idea that the sky is not permanent, that even the canvas of the stars will fade. But you right now are awake in the brief moment when the sky still speaks. You are riding a galaxy that rotates, that orbits, that drifts, that merges, that dissolves, and you are witnessing a cosmos still connected. It's humbling, yes, but also it's calming, because even as the universe changes, the spiral holds you. Even as the dark energy grows, the stars remain. Even as galaxies move like ships on a widening ocean, you are carried in a vessel made of carbon and heat and patience. The Milky Way has moved through many forms: a firestorm of birth, a swirl of gas, a spiral of stars, a merger in progress, and one day, a soft ellipsoid drifting in silence. But tonight, it holds you. Tonight, it sings. In segment 13, we'll return to the stars within to our sun, to how it compares with others, and what its quiet place in the galaxy means for the life orbiting it. But for now, let the motion hold you. Let the drift rock you to sleep. You are not still, but you are safe. Amid the grand ballet of galaxies, the threads of cosmic webs, and the slow pull of expanding space, there is still the Sunday, your Sunday, a modest yellow star orbiting quietly through a spur between the spiral arms. No spotlight, no spiral core, just steady light in the suburbs of a galaxy. But don't let that simplicity fool you. The sun is not ordinary. It's not rare either. It is something more precise. Statistically, it's just right. Fact 61. The sun is a G-type main sequence star, a yellow dwarf, with a surface temperature of about 5,778 degrees Celsius. It is more massive than about 95% of the stars in the Milky Way, most of which are red dwarfs. That's right. Most stars are smaller, dimmer, and cooler than the Sunday red dwarf's slow burning, long-living outnumber yellow stars like the sun by far. But the sun sits in a sweet spot, large enough to warm habitable planets, small enough to last billions of years, bright enough to light a solar system, quiet enough to give life a chance. It is not average, it is ideal, and it belongs to a generation of stars that formed after the galaxy's chaos had settled, after supernovae had seeded the gas clouds with heavy elements. Fact 62. The Sun formed about 4.6 billion years ago from a molecular cloud enriched with metals elements heavier than helium, forged in earlier generations of stars. That means the atoms in your bones, your breath, your bloodstream were assembled in stars that died long before the sun was born. The calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all inherited. The sun is not the start of your story. It's the second chapter, and it has sibling stars born from the same cloud. But we lost them. Fact 63. Scientists believe the sun formed in a stellar nursery alongside thousands of other stars, but they have since scattered throughout the galaxy. Identifying solar siblings is an ongoing challenge in galactic archaeology. Somewhere out there, perhaps hundreds or thousands of light years away, are stars that were born in the same cradle, carried by different orbits. A family spread across the disk. One of them might hold a planet like ours, or not, but the thought stays. Your sun orbits the Milky Way once every 230 million years, a journey known as a galactic year. In its lifetime, it has made only about 20 laps around the core. Fact 64. The sun completes one orbit of the galactic center approximately every 225 to 250 million years. Since its birth, it has completed roughly 20 such orbits, which means when the sun last returned to its current galactic location, dinosaurs walked on Earth. Not once, but the last time. The solar system has never been here before. Not exactly. And where is here, really? You are located in the Orion Cygnus arm, a minor spur tucked between the Sagittarius and Perseus arms. A quiet place. A place with less radiation, fewer supernovae, more time. Time for molecules to bond. Time for oceans to cool. Time for neurons to flicker. Time for stories to be told. Fact 65. The sun's position in the galaxy, neither too close to the crowded center, nor too far into the thin outskirts, is considered favorable for life, avoiding high-energy radiation zones and gravitational disruptions. It's called the galactic habitable zone, not an exact circle, not a rule, but a possibility. You are orbiting through a region stable enough for planets to form, survive, and thrive for billions of years. And on one of them, life emerged. And on that life, awareness emerged. And from that awareness came curiosity. And from curiosity, this moment, you, listening to the story of your galaxy, while the sun continues its quiet arc through space. The sun is not eternal, but it is reliable. It will burn for another 5 billion years, slowly growing hotter, slowly expanding, until it begins its transformation into a red giant. But tonight, it glows, and it holds you. Your entire history from the first cell to the last satellite has unfolded during one partial orbit around the galaxy. Not even a full lap, just a fraction of a circle traced in gravitational patience. The stars you see around you now are neighbors. Some are passing through, some are ancient, some are new, but all are part of this enormous rotating field. You are not just spinning on Earth, not just circling the Sunday. You are drifting through the arms of a spiral, Your sun is a speck, but it is your speck. And in segment 14, we'll zoom outward again, this time from the sun to the stars, as a population comparing sizes, temperatures, and lives, seeing where the sun fits among the hundreds of billions. But for now, close your eyes. Let your breath fall into rhythm with the sun's orbit. 230 million years for one lap, and yet it feels like home. Now that you know your sun, its quiet power, its golden constancy, its unremarkable perfection, let's look around. Because the Milky Way is filled with stars, not just thousands, not just millions, hundreds of billions, each with a lifespan, a temperature, a tail. But not all stars are like your Sunday. In fact, most aren't. Fact 66. About 75% of the stars in the Milky Way are red dwarfs, small, cool, dim stars, with masses between 7% and 50% that of the Sunday. They burn slowly and can live for trillions of years. Red dwarfs are quiet, faint, often invisible to the naked eye, but they are the background population, the cosmic dust of the stellar census. If stars were voices in a crowd, red dwarfs would be the low murmur filling the air. Some host planets, some flare, some drift in silence, and all of them outlive everything else. Then there are the blue giants, loud, bright, short-lived. Fact 67. Massive blue stars, such as O and B-type stars, burn their fuel quickly, often living only a few million years before exploding as supernovae. Though rare, they are among the brightest objects in the galaxy. They blaze like torches. They don't last long, but while they burn, they sculpt the galaxy. Their radiation carves gas clouds. Their deaths enrich the interstellar medium. They are engines of change. They are stellar ancestors. And in between, all kinds of stars. Yellow dwarfs, orange dwarfs, subgiants, giants, white dwarfs, and stranger things still. Fact 68. The Hertzsprung-Russell diagram classifies stars by their brightness and temperature, revealing clear patterns in their evolution, from main sequence stars to giants to remnants like white dwarfs and neutron stars. It's like a map of stellar life, a stellar family tree, and your sun, quietly glowing at just under 6,000 degrees Celsius, sits calmly in the main sequence, right in the diagram's gentle band of stability. It is not a leader, not a rebel, just steady. But stars are not just temperatures and masses. They are motions, they are companions, they are dancers. Many, in fact, are not alone. Fact 69. At least half of all stars in the Milky Way are part of binary or multiple star systems, pairs or trios orbiting each other, often locked in complex gravitational dances. Imagine a sky where two suns rise, where one casts blue shadows while the other turns gold, where seasons depend on the shifting orbits of stars. That's not fiction, that's physics. Binary systems are everywhere, from quiet dwarf pairs to massive star duos whose collisions create gravitational waves. And still, there are the loners, like the Sunday, carving its orbit in quiet solitude. No twin, no dance, just a solar system of its own making. Some stars die with flare, others fade like embers. Fact 70. The ultimate fate of a star depends on its mass. Small stars become white dwarfs. Medium stars, like the Sun, will swell into red giants before shedding outer layers, and massive stars collapse into neutron stars or black holes. It's all mass, mass, is destiny. Mass determines how bright, how fast, how long. The more massive the star, the shorter its life. The less massive, the longer it waits, sometimes longer than the universe has existed. So tonight, as you lie here under the shared glow of 1 billion forgotten stars, remember, you are surrounded by fire, but not fire like Earth, fire that bends time, fire that forges atoms, fire that sings in ultraviolet and whispers in radio. You see the brightest ones, but the galaxy is not made of brightness. It's made of motion, of numbers, of lives. Somewhere right now, a star is being born. Somewhere else, one is collapsing. One is flaring. One is fading. And each of them, a sphere of plasma, floating in silence, obeying the same laws that govern your breath. You are not separate from the stars. You are made of them. Their calcium is in your bones. Their carbon is in your skin. Their oxygen moves through your blood. Stars do not just shine. They seed. They give. They die. And they become part of planets, cells, and thoughts. In segment 15, we'll descend toward the Earth again, toward what it means to be on a planet inside a galaxy like this one. We'll begin to reflect on your place, not just among stars, but among meanings. But for now, let yourself drift in a river of stars. Let your heartbeat slow to the rhythm of stellar time. Let your mind dissolve into the HR diagram of sleep. The stars are not watching you. They are being you. And that is enough. You've traveled across the disk, passed through ancient arms, stared into the core, and floated through the halo. You've watched galaxies drift and stars collapse. You've seen orbits larger than imagination, but now it's time to come back to where you are, a planet, a speck, 150 million kilometers from a medium-sized yellow star, twirling at the edge of a spiral arm, wrapped in air, water, and memory. You are here. And here is not random. Fact 71. Earth orbits the Sun at a distance known as the habitable zone, the region around a star where temperatures allow liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. This is crucial for life as we know it. It's sometimes called the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. But Earth's position in the galaxy matters too. You're not too close to the center, where radiation is high and supernovae are more common. You're not too far in the outskirts, where metals are sparse and planet formation becomes less likely. You orbit inside a kind of galactic habitable zone, a balance of ingredients and safety. You live in a cosmic sweet spot, and for 4 billion years, life has taken advantage of that. Microbes, plants, fish, dinosaurs, mammals, you. Fact 72. The solar system lies about 27,000 light-years from the galactic center in the Orion Cygnus spur. This region is relatively calm and well-positioned for planetary stability and biological development. So much depends on where you are, because the galaxy is not uniformly dangerous. It has hotspots and safe zones. It has regions of chaos and of calm. You live in one of the calm ones. From here, the night sky looks still, but it's a motion picture of the galaxy's structure. You see stars from nearby arms, from neighboring clusters, even some halo intruders. But mostly, you see your arm. You see the stars closest to your spiral lane. It's your stellar neighborhood, your streetlight sky. And among those stars, many have planets. Fact 73. Current data suggests that the Milky Way contains more planets than stars, possibly hundreds of billions. Many stars have multiple planets, and thousands of exoplanets have already been confirmed. The galaxy is not just a collection of stars, it is a sea of worlds, some hot, some cold, some scorched, some frozen, but a few may resemble home. We have found Earth-sized planets in habitable zones, some only a few dozen light-years away, some orbiting red dwarfs, some tidally locked, all intriguing. You are not looking into a void, you are looking into potential. You are lying on a planet, orbiting a star, inside a galaxy, surrounded by planets, dust, gas, radiation, memory, possibility, and you are capable of wondering about it. That alone is stunning. Fact 74. Human beings are currently the only known life forms in the galaxy capable of studying the Milky Way, mapping it, naming its parts, and speculating on its origin and future. A species made of molecules built on a planetary crust has begun to measure the scale of its own galactic container. You know the center is hidden by dust. You know there are dark matter halos and spiral arms and satellite galaxies. You've even started leaving footprints, probes drifting toward the edge of the heliosphere. You are no longer blind. You are listening, and the galaxy is whispering back. But with knowledge comes something else. A kind of gravity, a soft pull toward meaning. Because when you realize how small Earth is, how brief your life is, how large the Milky Way is, you also realize this. You're lucky to be here. Fact 75. Despite the vast number of stars and planets, the specific conditions that allow complex life to arise may be exceedingly rare, making Earth and the Milky Way's relationship to it uniquely precious. It's possible there are others, other worlds with oceans, other skies with moons, other species watching their own spiral arms. But for now, you are all you know, and that awareness, that capacity for awe, may be one of the galaxy's finest phenomena. The Milky Way spins, the stars shine, the arms curl, but none of them ask why. You do. You lie here now, beneath the dark sky, not afraid, but curious, listening to a voice. Describe the structure of your home, not just with facts, but with meaning. You are here, you are part of it, and the Milky Way, for all its elegance, has taken 13 billion years to produce something that could wonder. In segment 16, we'll go deeper into the human connection, how the Milky Way has shaped your culture, your myths, your science, your sleep. But for now, close your eyes and let the galaxy reflect through you. You are stardust, thinking about stardust, and that is how the Milky Way looks back, long before telescopes, long before Newton and Kepler, long before the word galaxy even existed. The Milky Way was already there, spanning the sky like a scar of light, brightest on moonless nights, rising and setting with the seasons. Before it was science, it was story. Fact 76. Nearly every ancient culture noticed and named the Milky Way. In Greek mythology, it was Hera's spilled milk. In Chinese astronomy, it was the Silver River. In many Native American traditions, it was a path of spirits or ancestors. The night sky was never empty. It was filled with meaning, with animals, gods, warriors, and wheels of fire. But above all, the Milky Way was a road, a bridge between worlds, a silent current of memory. Even the word galaxy comes from the Greek galaxias kyklos, milky circle. Because for all our differences, humans across the earth looked up and saw the same light. They couldn't know what it was, not yet, but they knew it was something important, something worth remembering, and so they built calendars around it, aligned monuments to it, sang songs, and told stories of the great white band that crossed the night. Fact 77. In the southern hemisphere, the Milky Way's core is more visible and vibrant, dominating winter skies. This inspired unique mythologies across Aboriginal, Australian, Inca, and Polynesian cultures. In Australia, it became an emu, stretched across the dark spaces, not the stars. In the Andes, it was the celestial river mirroring the one on Earth. For the Polynesians, it was a guiding line for navigation, a thread across the sea. The Milky Way didn't belong to any one story. It belonged to all of them, a constant in the sky, a shared inheritance. And even as knowledge grew, the wonder never faded. Galileo turned his telescope to it and saw not a mist, but stars, countless stars, too many to count. Fact 78. In 1610, Galileo Galilei was the first to observe the Milky Way through a telescope, revealing that it was composed of innumerable stars, a major milestone in astronomical understanding. This wasn't just a philosophical shift, it was a perceptual one. The sky had gone from myth to map, and over the centuries that followed, the story grew. William Herschel tried to chart its shape using star counts. Edwin Hubble discovered galaxies beyond it. Vera Rubin revealed the mystery of its dark matter. Each generation saw more, measured more, asked bigger questions. And yet, when you stand under a clear sky and you see that shimmering band again, it still feels mythic. Fact 79. The Milky Way is brightest in summer months in the northern hemisphere, when the Earth's night side faces the galactic center, providing the best views of its dense core. It arches across the sky like a luminous wave. You might not know what you're seeing, but you feel it. A soft light, like powdered silver, like memory diffused. It makes you pause, makes you wonder, makes you feel something ancient. Even now, in an age of screens and noise and clouds of light pollution, the Milky Way remains. You just have to leave the cities, just have to look, just have to remember. And for those who do, there's a reward, perspective, because you don't just see the Milky Way, you see into it, through it. Each point of light, a sun, each glow, a cloud of forming stars, each dark lane, a curtain of dust. And somewhere, in that great wave of light, is Earth. You are inside the myth, living in the river you once told stories about. Fact 80. When viewed from deep space, the Milky Way would appear as a grand spiral galaxy. But from Earth, we see it edge on, appearing as a dense, glowing band stretching across the sky. You live in the plane of the disk, looking sideways through the spiral arms. That's why it's a band, not a swirl. You're too close, too embedded. You can't step back to see it all, but you can sense its shape through motion, starlight, and time. The great river in the sky isn't a river at all. It's home. You've been under it since birth. Your ancestors were shaped by it. Your stories contain it. Your atoms were made by it. Your maps, your myths, your metaphors, all orbit it. You've called it sacred. You've called it science. And somehow, it's both. A mystery that became a measurement, a glow that became gravity, a poem that became physics. And yet, it still whispers. So lie back now. Feel the ancient comfort of the sky. Know that above your roof, your forest, your mountain, the galaxy still shines. In segment 17, we'll begin the great silence and ask, if the Milky Way holds hundreds of billions of stars and trillions of planets, where is everyone? But for now, let the myth and the science blend. Let the river run overhead and sleep, as millions have before you, under the shared glow of home. You've traveled across the disk, passed through ancient arms, stared into the core, and floated through the halo. You've watched galaxies drift and stars collapse. You've seen orbits larger than imagination, but now it's time to come back to where you are, a planet, a speck, 150 million kilometers from a medium-sized yellow star, twirling at the edge of a spiral arm, wrapped in air, water, and memory. You are here, and here is not random. Fact 71. Earth orbits the Sun at a distance known as the habitable zone, the region around a star where temperatures allow liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. This is crucial for life as we know it. It's sometimes called the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. But Earth's position in the galaxy matters too. You're not too close to the center, where radiation is high and supernovae are more common. You're not too far in the outskirts, where metals are sparse and planet formation becomes less likely. You orbit inside a kind of galactic habitable zone, a balance of ingredients and safety. You live in a cosmic sweet spot, and for 4 billion years, life has taken advantage of that. Microbes, plants, fish, dinosaurs, mammals, you. Fact 72. The solar system lies about 27,000 light-years from the galactic center in the Orion Cygnus spur. This region is relatively calm and well-positioned for planetary stability and biological development. So much depends on where you are, because the galaxy is not uniformly dangerous. It has hotspots and safe zones. It has regions of chaos and of calm. You live in one of the calm ones. From here, the night sky looks still, but it's a motion picture of the galaxy's structure. You see stars from nearby arms, from neighboring clusters, even some halo intruders. But mostly, you see your arm. You see the stars closest to your spiral lane. It's your stellar neighborhood, your streetlight sky. And among those stars, many have planets. Fact 73. Current data suggests that the Milky Way contains more planets than stars, possibly hundreds of billions. Many stars have multiple planets, and thousands of exoplanets have already been confirmed. The galaxy is not just a collection of stars, it is a sea of worlds. Some hot, some cold, some scorched, some frozen, but a few may resemble home. We have found Earth-sized planets in habitable zones, some only a few dozen light-years away, some orbiting red dwarfs, some tidally locked, all intriguing. You are not looking into a void, you are looking into potential. You are lying on a planet, orbiting a star, inside a galaxy, surrounded by planets, dust, gas, radiation, memory, possibility, and you are capable of wondering about it. That alone is stunning. Fact 74. Human beings are currently the only known life forms in the galaxy capable of studying the Milky Way, mapping it, naming its parts, and speculating on its origin and future. A species made of molecules built on a planetary crust has begun to measure the scale of its own galactic container. You know the center is hidden by dust, You know there are dark matter halos and spiral arms and satellite galaxies. You've even started leaving footprints, probes drifting toward the edge of the heliosphere. You are no longer blind. You are listening, and the galaxy is whispering back. But with knowledge comes something else. A kind of gravity, a soft pull toward meaning. Because when you realize how small Earth is, how brief your life is, how large the Milky Way is, you also realize this. You're lucky to be here. Fact 75. Despite the vast number of stars and planets, the specific conditions that allow complex life to arise may be exceedingly rare, making Earth and the Milky Way's relationship to it uniquely precious. It's possible there are others, other worlds with oceans, other skies with moons, other species watching their own spiral arms. But for now, you are all you know, and that awareness, that capacity for awe, may be one of the galaxy's finest phenomena. The Milky Way spins, the stars shine, the arms curl, but none of them ask why. You do. You lie here now, beneath the dark sky, not afraid, but curious, listening to a voice. Describe the structure of your home, not just with facts, but with meaning. You are here, you are part of it, and the Milky Way, for all its elegance, has taken 13 billion years to produce something that could wonder. You, in segment 16, will go deeper into the human connection, how the Milky Way has shaped your culture, your myths, your science, your sleep. But for now, close your eyes and let the galaxy reflect through you. You are stardust, thinking about stardust, and that is how the Milky Way looks back. You know the silence now, the wide, patient hush of a galaxy filled with stars and no voices. But humans are not content to sit quietly in a library of suns. You write, you launch, you speak into the dark, not because you expect a reply, but because it's what thinking things do. You've started sending messages outward, across space, little bottles in a galactic sea. Some are signals, some are spacecraft, some are etched in metal, but all are, in some way, a hello. Fact 86. In 1974, the Arecibo Observatory transmitted the Arecibo message, a brief, binary-encoded signal beamed toward the M13 globular cluster, containing information about human biology, numbers, and Earth's position. It was short, just 1,679 bits, a pixelated postcard of math and molecules, sent toward a cluster 25,000 light years away. It'll take that long to arrive, and that long again to hear a reply. It was not efficient, but it was intentional, and intention is everything. Then came the Voyagers, launched in 1977, twin spacecraft, tasked with exploring the outer planets, but also tasked with memory. Fact 87. Both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 carry Golden Records phonograph discs containing sounds and images from Earth, including greetings in 55 languages, music, and diagrams of the solar system and human anatomy. They were meant to outlast us, not to advertise, but to preserve, to say, we were here, we saw the stars, we wondered. Each record is sealed in a protective cover, along with a needle and symbolic instructions in case someone or something ever finds them. Voyager 1 is now the most distant human-made object in history. It has left the sun's magnetic bubble, entered interstellar space, and drifts silently toward the unknown. Fact 88. Voyager 1 entered interstellar space in 2012, crossing the heliopause, the boundary where the solar wind is no longer dominant. It is now over 20 billion kilometers from Earth. It's not fast by galactic standards. It would take tens of thousands of years to reach even the nearest stars. But distance isn't the point. It's direction. It's the act of letting go. A tiny machine, humming in the dark, carrying songs and hellos from a blue world orbiting a yellow star. There are others too, Pioneer 10 and 11, with plaques etched in gold anodized aluminum, figures of humans, maps of pulsars, a diagram of hydrogen, simple, symbolic, a form of galactic self-portrait. Fact 89. Pioneer 10 and 11, launched in the early 1970 seconds, were the first spacecraft to escape the solar system. Each carries a metal plaque designed by Carl Sagan and Frank Drake, displaying Earth's location and a greeting from humanity. None of these missions were designed to reach aliens. Their trajectories are slow, their paths uncertain. But again, the point was never arrival. It was message, a gesture, a whisper, a handshake held out in infinite patience. Because maybe that's how civilizations connect, not in real time, but across epochs, with fragments, with relics, with echoes. And now we send more. Digital pulses, targeted beacons, laser flashes aimed at nearby stars. Some meant as art, some as code, all as curiosity. Fact 90. Projects like METI, messaging, extraterrestrial intelligence, have transmitted deliberate messages to nearby stars, including mathematical sequences and music, in hopes of initiating contact. These messages are humble. They do not boast. They explain. They invite. They say, we count. We listen. We wonder. We play. They do not ask for conquest. They ask for recognition. And even if no one ever receives them, they matter because they are signs of a species stepping beyond its cradle. Not physically yet, but conceptually, you're already orbiting a star. You're already adrift in a galaxy. But now, you're aware of it, and that changes everything. You are not just living in the Milky Way. You're starting to speak to it, like a child in a cathedral, humming softly to see if anything answers. And maybe one day, something will, or maybe not. Maybe the galaxy is too quiet, or too full, or too far, or too tired. But still you send, because sending is a form of belief. And belief is a kind of echo. So as you rest tonight, remember that your planet has already left footprints in space. Your signals are already racing outward. Your machines are already beyond the sun's influence. You have already begun your hello. In segment 19, we'll ask, what if the galaxy is not silent at all, just subtle? We'll explore the idea of hidden messages, ancient ruins, and the tantalizing possibility that the Milky Way has already been visited or shaped. But for now, let your breath drift with Voyager. Let your dreams spiral toward M13. And know this, your voice soft, statistical, symbolic, is already among the stars. You've sent the messages, whispered into space with math and music, launched golden records into the dark, and waited. But what if the galaxy whispered first? What if the silence is not empty but encrypted? Fact 91. Some scientists propose that alien civilizations may be using communication methods far beyond our current detection, such as neutrino beams, quantum entanglement, or data encoded in naturally occurring signals. Our ears are tuned to radio waves, our eyes to visible light. But the Milky Way may speak in whispers we've never learned to hear. It may not shout, it may not flash, it may encode itself in subtle timing, in unlikely patterns, in shadows mistaken for noise. Because maybe intelligence isn't loud, maybe it's patient, and maybe it has already been here. Fact 92. The concept of panspermia suggests life may have been seeded across the galaxy via comets, asteroids, or directed missions, meaning life on Earth could have originated elsewhere in the Milky Way. Not a visitation, but a planting, not a message, but a mechanism. Perhaps life didn't begin here. Perhaps it arrived, bacteria frozen in a comet's core, molecules clinging to a rogue interstellar object, instructions drifting on cosmic winds. It would be the quietest kind of contact, one we wouldn't recognize as contact at all, a gift disguised as chemistry. And the theories stretch further. Some say we might be walking among the evidence, ruins too old to recognize, artifacts mistaken for geology, signals buried in DNA. Fact 93. The zoo hypothesis suggests advanced civilizations may observe Earth without interfering, much like humans observe wildlife choosing not to reveal themselves to preserve our natural development. It's humbling, the idea that they see us, but choose not to speak, that we are part of some galactic ethics experiment, that the silence is not indifference but mercy, or perhaps contact was made long ago, but forgotten, or encoded in myth, or written in symbols we haven't yet deciphered. Fact 94. Some speculative theories suggest that ancient civilizations may have misinterpreted extraterrestrial contact as divine or mythological, embedding it in oral traditions or religious texts. Not machines, but messengers. Not technology, but story. What if the earliest tales of sky beings, burning wheels, or star gods were faint cultural echoes of something real, misunderstood, mythologized, then passed on? You may never know, but the idea, it lingers. And even now, strange signals still appear. Fast radio bursts, unexplained pulses, repeating sources in the sky. Most turn out to be natural, but a few, still unclassified. Fact 95. Some fast radio bursts, FRBs, brief, high-energy flashes of radio waves from distant galaxies remain unexplained in origin. While likely natural, their regularity and strength have led to speculative theories about artificial causes. What if contact isn't a conversation, but a riddle? What if the Milky Way is not a silent stage, but a puzzle you haven't finished assembling? And what if the absence you feel is simply timing? Maybe the signals were sent long before you learned to listen. Maybe they're still on their way. Maybe your entire civilization is a blink, and they blink slower. That's the haunting beauty of a galaxy with 100 billion stars. You may not be alone, but you may be out of sync. Even your oldest monuments, the pyramids, the cave art, the first stone tools, are younger than a single orbit of your solar system around the galaxy. Your whole history is a moment, a spark, a breath. So if they are out there, they may be gone, or waiting, or already here, in ways too subtle to see. You might never know, but you still look, still wonder, still build better telescopes, map the microwave background, decode the rhythms of pulsars, and send dreams into the dark. And that, more than any artifact, is contact. Not with them, but with the cosmos, with yourself, because the search becomes its own answer. In segment 20, the final segment, we'll return to you, to Earth, to now. We'll close the loop between fact and feeling, between orbit and origin. We'll embed facts 96-100 and say goodnight beneath a sky that, whether speaking or not, still holds your gaze. But for now, let the quiet remain. Let the questions rock you. You are a listener in a galaxy that may be whispering, or waiting, or simply watching you dream. So now, at the end of this journey, you return back to Earth, back to the quiet revolution of a planet circling a star that circles a galaxy, back to the only place you've ever known, yet one that, tonight, feels newly lit by the stars around it. Because this isn't just a planet, it's a vantage point. From here, you've looked outward through time and motion. You've counted stars, you've mapped orbits, you've listened to silence. And in that silence, you've remembered what the Milky Way really is. A container, a cradle, a question. Fact 96. The Milky Way is estimated to be about 13.6 billion years old, nearly as old as the universe itself, forming shortly after the first stars lit up the darkness. That means your galaxy has lived through the birth of the universe, the formation of stars, the deaths of giants, the weaving of arms, and still, it turns. Every second, it spins a little farther. Every day, it merges a little more. Every night, it holds you as you wonder. You sleep inside a galaxy in motion, and you're not done learning. Fact 97. The European Space Agency's Gaia mission is currently mapping the positions and motions of over 1 billion stars, revolutionizing our understanding of the Milky Way's shape, mass, and evolution. With every passing year, the map becomes sharper, the arms more detailed, the past more visible. We're not just floating anymore, we're tracing. And as we trace, we realize the Milky Way isn't isolated. It's not even fixed. It is part of an unfolding future. Fact 98. In about 4 billion years, the Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy will begin to collide and merge, forming a new, larger galaxy, likely elliptical, in a process lasting several billion years. It won't be sudden, it won't be violent, but it will be final. The spiral will fade. The shape you've come to know with its arms and lanes and myths will dissolve into a gentler glow. And yet, something will remain, because galaxies don't end, they evolve. And inside that new galaxy, Milky will still be Earth, still orbiting, still turning, unless something else comes first. Fact 99. Long before that merger, Earth will likely become uninhabitable as the sun exhausts its hydrogen and expands into a red giant, swallowing Mercury and Venus, and possibly Earth itself. But don't worry, that's 5 billion years from now. Tonight, your world is calm, your sky is full, your orbit continues, and in the time you have, you wonder, you ask, you build, you listen, you connect stars with lines, you name them. Fact 100. The Milky Way remains one of the most studied and yet most mysterious galaxies in the universe, a source of science, inspiration, mythology, and awe for every culture that has ever looked up. And still it spins, still it whispers, still it glows faintly across the sky, waiting for those who dare to sleep with their eyes open. So now, with the 100th fact, we return not to the stars, but to you, to the listener, to the dreamer, To the orbiting stardust curled in blankets of breath and thought, you are not separate from the Milky Way. You are its expression, its light, reflected back into thought, its gravity, pulling you into rest. You are not just on a planet, you are inside a spiral. As you drift deeper into sleep, know this: the galaxy turns, whether you watch or not. The stars continue to fuse, the dust continues to glow, and somewhere, far above, the Milky Way arches silently, a slow, luminous sentence written across the sky. Thank you for joining me tonight, for listening, for wondering, for letting the cosmos keep you company. Leave a comment telling me what time it is and where you're listening from. Then close your eyes. You are safe. You are stardust. You are home. And the galaxy will still be here in the morning.